you've got to accept that everything in life is sales. We are selling something, be it ourselves or a product. And then if you want to be the best in the world at what you do, or certainly good at what you do, then you've got to dedicate to that craft, and you've got to learn harder than anybody else is if you want to stand out, and you've got to keep looking and reflecting.
This is The Media Machine, where media, business, and innovation intersect. Hi, I'm Johanna Salazar, and I'll be your host as we examine the future of content, technology, and entertainment through the lens of 4 key pillars: process, profit, people, and planet. If you're a creator, an executive, or someone trying to break into media, the advice from our guests in season 1 is worth holding on to. Nicki Sun told us to treat yourself like a brand and how to prepare all content through a marketing perspective. Rebeca Ricoy shared that if you want to be promoted, you should never be indispensable. Your team should be able to function smoothly if you were out for a month. And Michael Tanzer reminded us to never, ever, ever give up. I love him. These lessons are not just advice. They're a roadmap for anyone navigating the future of media. What are some of the common mistakes that you see creators today, for example, when they're developing, when they're pitching projects?
That's a great question. I think now, because things are so instantaneous, you can shoot something, produce it, and post it, basically air it to the whole world the same day, that people are forgetting to go through the process of really developing out an idea to make it work long term. So for me, I think it's like taking that moment and really understanding what it is that you're trying to create and what you're trying to accomplish before you go and shoot, and before you determine what your brand is or where it's expanding. It's like really plan and be strategic about it rather than just shoot and post. Some people also are doing the shooting and posting and doing well, but I still think having that sort of vision first is only going to help in the long run.
Tell us something that we need to know right now, like about TikTok or trends or something.
Oh, TikTok, use TikTok as much as possible. As far as brands and content for promotion, use TikTok until you can't use it anymore. If it's gone one day, you're going to regret not using it. Even if you use it just for the week before it's gone. If you're going to be a creator and you're going to create content, your content has to be at least 60 seconds long. It has to be original, be authentic, be yourself. It's okay if nothing's perfect. TikTok is this space where things are not supposed to be perfect. You don't have to have the perfect background. Talk to your audience like you would talk to your friends. Not your best friends, because you don't want to be too much, but like you would talk to people that you respect and that you care about. Because that's what the audience wants. And give them information or give them context that you feel they need because they're not getting it somewhere else. And you will see that. And of course, bring your community in, obviously, right? So if you have footing on LinkedIn, on Instagram, bring them in, watch my TikTok, go see my TikTok, my TikTok, whatever. Because there is a marketing aspect to getting all those likes, right? A lot of creators haven't just gotten them. They send them to their friends and family, please pass them on, whatever. And then somebody likes it and it clicks and it goes viral. That's another thing with TikTok. It's constantly changing. So like the TikTok that I left 9 months ago, things have changed a lot, and they're always moving and they're always 10 steps ahead. But the monetization side, it is real. It is very real. I mean, and that's where the creator industry has come from. And you and I both know this, right? So creators, the ad agencies have shifted from not only going to creative production, but going directly to creators and giving the creators the funds for them to do everything. So it's not that they're like, oh, we have a script for you and we're going to bring our team and they're going to shoot. They're like, okay, we're going to give you $30,000 and then you need to go buy a Christmas tree, give us this many videos, whatever, edit them, put whatever you want, etc.
What advice do you give creators that are just starting out on how to create their YouTube brand, their YouTube channel? And is that something that they should be looking into?
If your goal actually is to become a full-time creator, a UGC creator, or make money off of what you're creating, then you have to be a brand. You have to think about it like I get a lot of times too. I have one soundbite from my interview with Sung Kang about his love for the Toyota Sienna minivan that is going viral. It's hit over 10 million views, but people are taking my videos, covering my watermark and sharing it as their own. So this is a whole bunch, like so much has had to be involved. I had to reach out individually and have them take it down. But I knew that something like that would happen. So for me, I made sure that I cut angles that had the Nicki Sun show in the back. So if my video got stolen and there's gonna be free marketing for me, I might as well market my friggin' show if they want to watch the rest of this podcast if it's gonna get stolen. And I've had to think about this for 15 years because no one's gonna market yourself harder than you are. No one cares. And that's the thing that you have to get over too. It's like no one cares about it. And it's like, in a way, I hope that comes more as a relief and freeing and liberation for people who are so stuck in being perfect. So if you're going to do it like that, you might as well like market it and make sure that you're proud of it.
So you've been a strong advocate for radical collaboration, and I love that term. So arguing that traditional media companies need to work together to compete with big tech. So what does radical collaboration actually look like in practice?
What I really mean about radical collaboration is, 68% of all advertising in the world goes to pure play digital players. And the reason why media buyers are diverting their money away from traditional television, even in its connected television form, to pure play digital players is because the data is just better. It is provably ethical. There is a way to target better on the front end and track results on the back end. And Meta and Google and Amazon, they take over 60% of the advertising, just those three companies. And that's because their data pools, their data stacks are so massive that they offer, not just a return on media investment and a return on ad spend, but they are just much better at all of the aspects of data planning to the point where people are willing to suffer through massive fraud on these platforms. Massive. Like we're talking as much as 50% of the media placed on, these platforms is fraudulent. It goes to bots. But because I still understand when I spend $1, I get $1.50 back, I'm still willing to put my money there because I can track it. I know what's working. I know what's not working. I can alter my plans in real time based on the information that I'm getting. You know how you compete with that? You take all of your data combined, Disco Brothers, Comcast, Netflix, Samsung, Roku, and you put it inside a data safe environment and you create a bulwark. You create an alternative to the big walled gardens that actually provides as much data and as much, proof of efficacy as the big three do. Frankly, that is the only way traditional media is ever going to be able to compete with the big three.
How will content consumption platforms leverage data and user behavior to deliver highly tailored and engaging content experiences?
Research. You got to dive into the data and don't just look at the data from a factor of scale and really how that's going to impact monetization. What are the trends that you're seeing in the data really telling you about the consumer that oftentimes the consumer will never say, right? And because I don't feel as though many places use data right now to inform creation. And I think, for instance, Law and Order is probably one of the best shows that do it right now. Like literally, it's like ripped from the headlines. But now they're different headlines. They're more localized headlines. They're headlines that might have a more global purview, but mean something to a different community from that side of the world that just maybe they're big in Queens. So maybe you're talking about like the Cape Verde community and they're big in Boston. So what are those headlines there? And how can that help inform some of your creation? What are the consumption patterns of artists that you're seeing there, right? That might let you know we used to be looking out for guest stars or some people to cast, all of those things as well. I think there's a lot more granular data that can be leveraged for content creation for short and long form as well. I think if you truly do a good job with providing that value to your target audience, they'll embrace it so tightly and celebrate it so widely that it'll attract attention from people outside the niche and really feed what is this new media ecosystem in which that almost explosion of appreciation, love, recognition within the niche will then trigger off. But I think first and foremost today, the mistake has been, let's make this something that means something to everybody, right? And that's kind of the best way to be nothing to everyone as well. So really focus on creating value for that core audience. And if you do, their love and appreciation will be noticed and attract others.
Yeah.
How can companies better retain and attract talent today?
One of the beautiful trends I'm seeing with a lot of the younger people that I'm working with, which is increasingly most of the people I work with because we're getting older, the key word that I'm seeing flow through a number of different age groups below mine is the focus on authenticity, the authentic self, the authentic purpose, the authentic, like, what are we doing here today? Like, why does a company exist? Why am I getting out of bed? Why am I drinking this coffee? And I think if you really take authenticity and play it all the way out, then the heart comes into play, because authenticity is often filtered easily, or you can sniff out when things are unauthentic with your heart. At the end of the day, most of them are there for a business purpose, as you were saying in your different elements in the machine. That profit part is important. You cannot make a profit if you're not actually authentically serving an audience, and you can't authentically serve an audience if you don't understand it. And understanding it means you need to have people of all different backgrounds in it. And it's been interesting to see this whole journey of multiculturalism and this original idea of there's a general market and there's everybody else. No, there's just one marketplace, and everyone buys cars and everyone buys coffee. And just if you're a company trying to attract customers, how do you do more of it?
I want to ask you a little bit about your earlier roles and how they impacted you today. Like, what would you say your journey has taught you in how you lead today?
I always try to share in terms of very specific about leadership and like building teams that I learned a while back in my corporate days when I worked at Avon. I had an amazing mentor. So one of the main things that, he taught me was you need to have, in order for you to grow, you need to build an A+ team. And how do you know if you have an A+ team? It means that you are able to leave for a month and everything will work. Yeah, maybe they won't have the high level strategy. Maybe if something huge happens, then of course you're not going to be there to manage that situation. But if nothing big and chaotic happens, your team is able to function for an entire month without you. That's how you know that you have a very well-oiled machine. And that's the only way that you're going to have them the freedom to say, hey, change, I want to be promoted and I want to move to this place because my team, like, they're good, like I have this person that can move up and they're doing their thing. I now can be used somewhere else. And I think it's related to this whole thing of like being indispensable is actually not a good thing. Like people think that being indispensable is what you need to do at work. And that's actually kind of one of the worst things that you can become, indispensable, because then no one's going to want to move you from where you're at right now because you are indispensable at that specific job. It's kind of like that. And so that really like stayed with me. And now I really focus on that, on making sure that I hire people that are smarter than me and many other things, people that are truly experts in what they're doing, so that if I leave, they can still do their work and everything's going to function correctly.
So how do you think we can equip young people and people without college degrees with the skills necessary for future jobs?
I think really importantly, we're seeing big companies remove requirements or change requirements for what is expected for some of those entry-level roles, really importantly, and not requiring that university degree. Companies like Google, who are investing a lot of money to bring those kind of boot camps, certificate courses for free or really low cost, and having scholarships and things like that. Software is a big part of that. A lot of job pages are looking for folks that understand, Data Studio or have particular pieces of software. I think it's astounding opportunity for especially companies that own that software and can push that software. Like us at Unity, we're investing a lot in bringing certification, short courses to learners, like you're saying, who don't have the privilege of going to universities and want to break into some of these lucrative industries or really high growth industries. I think that's really important and a great opportunity, obviously, with the costs of traditional education skyrocketing and becoming unaffordable, and people not wanting to be left with, loans their whole life paying off. That companies should recognize that if they want to prepare students to use their tools and software and programs. So I think there's a really great opportunity there. I think also for universities and colleges, like partnering with industry and with these companies to provide short courses and, in person, there's still so much value in being there in person, collaborating with others, being inspired in groups and that group kind of learning. Some of the stuff that you can't currently do on, like a online learning course. So colleges that recognize that and can bring lower cost, affordable, short courses that are really like boosting learners into entry-level positions. I think that's a really important aspect as well.
You speak about career pivots in your book, and for people who are rethinking what to do with their lives, what do you recommend somebody do?
Yeah, I mean, this is like the $1 million question right now, right? Because as you said, there's a ton of people that are struggling with this right now. The very first thing is like we have to be open to pivots. And, in a bit of a harder way of saying that is like we have to be open to disrupting ourselves, especially mid-career to later today. As you said, like things are changing fast. You have to keep up. There's really no choice. It may not be comforting to hear this, but those of us that have like decades of experience, we have come through the other side of major disruptions in work and technology, especially a few times. Now this is much different than it has been in the past, but especially in the world of like building and designing products. But the second thing I'll say is that we have to give ourselves like permission and acknowledge that we can have multiple interests. So we can decide to just do something different. Now, this can be something as subtle as exploring a different industry where we can apply our transferable skills. Or it can be something much more dramatic. I think a lot of times people are afraid they think like their past experience is not relevant. And a lot of times you really talk to them like, well, what did you actually do at your job? And, you can help a lot of people realize that a lot of the skills that they've built are transferable. I talk to people all the time. This has happened. It happens a lot, actually. But, oh, geez, it's been a couple examples. I'm trying to find a good one. There was somebody who was literally a medical doctor in another country, is now here studying design from the beginning. And she didn't even want to talk about her past experience as a doctor. And I'm like, particularly for design, where we talk about human-centeredness and empathy, like there's nobody more empathetic than a doctor that helps people with, whatever serious conditions. And the other thing about like having any kind of past work experience, even if it's something, like working retail or whatever it is, like the fact that you had a job and you had to work with other people and you had you had responsibilities, you had things that you had to get done on time, if you had to collaborate, like all those skills are transferable. So you have to just realize you have more capabilities and experience than you give yourself credit for. And so it is possible to kind of leverage that experience when you are considering a pivot.
What is one advice that you can give to people? Because I think every single person on the planet needs to understand sales if they want to succeed at having a business, at running a media empire, whatever it is. They need to understand. What is one thing that you can help our listeners with?
Relationship is a sale, Your partner had to convince you to spend the rest of your life with him. And if he didn't do a good job, you would have gone and spent it with somebody else. So, there's a lot of people who say, I don't want to be in sales. I'm not a salesman. And salespeople don't want to call them salespeople anymore. They want to say I'm a business development manager, or, head of new business and all these things. And I think that's the challenge is like, first of all, you've got to accept that everything in life is sales. We are selling something, be it ourselves or a product. And then if you want to be the best in the world at what you do, or certainly good at what you do, then you've got to dedicate to that craft and you've got to learn harder than anybody else is if you want to stand out. And you've got to keep looking and reflecting. And just like footballers go back and they watch their games back, I encourage my team to to listen to their sales pitches back, listen to their telephone calls, look at their emails, review them and go, is that the best message? Did I get that right? Did I get that wrong? And I think that's what it is. It's an art. And if you want to be the best actor, practice more.
Don't try, do.
Do. You're going to get paid a lot of money if you're better at what you do. If you're not, you're just going to get paid the same as everybody else. I took a team in last week and they were all sort of conforming and they were all together and they were all supporting each other and all being very nice about each other. And I said, one of you's got to shine the light on yourself. I said, you're not a chorus, you're a team. That means individually, we've all got to get better. And then the team gets better. I said, but if you're all conforming and, don't want to say something difficult about one of your colleagues, or you don't want to stick your head above the parapet and go, I can do this better, I can make more calls, I can do more deals, then this isn't a team. You're not a girl band. You've got to get that spotlight and turn it on you and say, right, what can I do better? Where can I add the value so we are the best team that we can possibly be?
For women and underrepresented creatives in the industry who want to own their IP or launch their own brand, what advice do you give them?
I would say that there is room for everybody to do exactly what they want online and in this digital business. I would ask them the same question that my friend asked me. I asked myself, what did I want to do when I was younger? What am I good at? What is it? My advice would be, what is it that you really love and would make you really happy? Maybe you're a good gardener. Maybe you're a great baker. Maybe something else. Learn the tools, follow the people that are doing similar things that you can be inspired by, and just start. Even if just starting means writing down your ideas or starting to learn a program or having just start designing or recording. Like, you don't have to show anybody what you're doing. Just see if you like it. And then little by little, I think you may like it because it could lead to, a shift in your income. It could lead to a shift in your life. And just build and just go and also be open to the direction it could take you. Because for me, I really did not know what I wanted to do when I started besides designing, and it just led to all these other things, which ultimately is helping my producing. It's a new perspective, as you said. But for anybody new, like, it is possible. There's room for everybody to create exactly what they want, whether it's classes, they can design websites, they can do anything is possible.
Do you use storytelling and media often to spread your message?
I use a mix of it. I'm not sure. My mission is to spread autism awareness online, social media, and then through person. And here's my message to all of you. So listen up. Never ever give up. Giving up is for rookies, because I am not giving up on myself. And even you. And I got a minute. Never doubt yourself. And you know why? Because doubting yourself is wrong. So remember, never judge yourself, learn yourself, and improve yourself. Always.
We hope you enjoyed our selections from season 1. Next week, we'll be dropping our compilation episode on the brands, tech, and apps our guests recommend. Thanks for listening to our show. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us at The Media Machine Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. The Media Machine is hosted by Johanna Salazar. Our producers are Mia Vinciguerra and Johanna Salazar. This episode was edited by Adriana Saravia. This episode features music from Envato Elements. Thanks for listening.